Hi, Rev Stacy Collins here, and this is week 5 of our series, The Path to Freedom: Being, Becoming, and Belonging. Our belonging statement says that we create a spiritual home for all people, knowing that we are one body and that we belong to each other. I just love that. So next week, Reverend Michael's going to talk about belonging in the context of community and how we can create a community of belonging. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about belonging to ourselves. So belonging to yourself, what does that look like? It sounds like the most natural, easy thing in the world. And it is. And yet, there are times that I do not belong to myself, that I need to check in with myself. Who do I really belong to? And what it looks like for me, and see if you can relate to this perhaps, is that I often give myself away, that I catch myself giving myself away for other people's opinions, what pleases them, displeases them, for approval, what people think I should do, how I should do that. And the more that we accumulate this kind of giving ourselves away, the less we belong to ourselves and the less in touch we are with what our own authentic self is here to reveal and express. So instead of looking for our value out here, what does it look like to belong to ourselves? And I think about the kingdom of heaven. Now, the kingdom of heaven, as we understand it in unity, it's a state of consciousness where we are aware of our oneness with the source of our being. When we are aware of our wholeness, that we are an integrated self with the divine, and nothing is outside of that circle. And so when we think of the kingdom of heaven consciousness, we can be at home with ourselves. We are relaxed in our own being. We feel alive. We feel on purpose. And I love how Jesus talks about the kingdom of heaven. He must have been asked about this a lot in his teaching ministry, because there are many parables about the kingdom of heaven. And one of my favorite ones, I think this is kind of confirmation that he was asked a lot. It begins with the word again. So I don't know how many times he had already been asked that day. But he says this, he says, again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant in search of fine pearls. And when finding one of great value, he went away, sold everything he had, and bought it. So we can think of ourselves as this merchant. First of all, I'm thinking about that merchant. He had to go and sell a bunch of stuff before he could fund this purchase of this pearl of great value. What is that stuff for us? What is that stuff that we have accumulated that is not the same value of this pearl of great value, which is that kingdom of heaven consciousness, with a knowing that we are one with the divine and that we are whole, perfect, and complete as we are, and here to express ourselves in a unique and authentic way. And in order to do so, we have to get rid of some stuff. We have to get rid of that the accumulated baggage of taking on what other people's expectations have required from us, all the ways that we have maybe bent ourselves into a shape that doesn't really fit for us because we're afraid of disappointing people. Sometimes they're people we don't know very well, but sometimes it's people that we love and we fear that they will be disappointed if we express ourselves really how we want to. So once we are aware of what we have accumulated in that way, we are able to release it and come home to that pearl of great value and recognize that the self has been there all along. We come home to a greater understanding of who we are and what we're here to do. I love the spiritual teacher Byron Katie, and she says this. She talks about if she had one prayer, it would be this: God, spare me from the desire for love, approval, or appreciation. Amen. And that's it. And at first glance, you're thinking, well, love, approval, and appreciation, those are good things, right? I love love. I love approval. I love appreciation. So do I. And you notice, though, she doesn't say, spare me from those things. Spare me from experiencing those things. They're wonderful. She says, spare me from the desire for them. We could also maybe think of that as spare me from the attachment to them or the dependency upon them. When we are placing our happiness or our sense of success or contentment, or even our sense of being able to rest at home with ourselves upon other people's, whether they love us or not, whether they appreciate us or not, whether they approve of us or not, then can create a lot of anxiety. It can create a lot of suffering. We cannot belong to ourselves. We're instead belonging to the opinions of others, which, as you know, opinions continuously shift and change. So even if we're doing our best to make everybody happy, have you ever tried that? I have. Doesn't work so well. So not only are we not belonging to ourselves when we're doing that, we're not finding ourselves at rest out here either. One of my favorite teachers in ministerial school, her name's Martha Craig. She's absolutely wonderful. She's one of those people that will tell you like it is. And this didn't originate with her, but gosh, she would say it like nobody else. She would say to us when we were kind of all wrapped up about something, she would say, SW, 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 which means some will, some won't, so what? And so the idea that some will, some people, and I find people like that in Unity all the time, that you meet them and you just resonate on a deep level. They just get you, they just kind of, you understand where they're coming from. Of course, you express differently. You have unique things about each other, but there's something on a deep level, you find some resonance. They get you. You don't need to prove yourself. You didn't need to change yourself. They love you as you are. And then some people just aren't going to get you. The some won't. No matter what you do, they just don't get you. And if you're honest with yourself, there are some people, you don't quite get them either. That doesn't mean you can't have mutual respect for one another. But this idea of the so what is so freeing to me, because it just speaks to the fact that we all have personalities, we have different tastes, and this idea that this is inevitable, that not everybody is going to just, appreciate all that you do, even if you are giving it all to make them appreciate you. And that is such a drain on your energy. And again, it's pulling you away from the self that you are here to express. So when all is said and done, this pearl of great value, this knowing your own intrinsic worth, this knowing of yourself at a deep level of who you are, how you want to express yourself, being comfortable with your own yeses and nos to things, giving yourself permission to say yes to the things that light you up, and to say no thank you when something doesn't resonate with you. This is a very freeing act of self-discovery. The poet T.S. Eliot said that we shall not cease from exploration, and at the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and to know the place for the first time. Come home to yourself. So worth it. Namaste.